Hello.
Hello,
Welcome to Malls on Mission.
I'm Anna.
And I'm Philip.
This is something.
And we're going to start now.
Sounds good. Was that peppy enough?
I hope so. I mean, it's not for me to decide. It's for our listeners to decide if it was peppy enough.
Okay. Because I'm trying to hide the fact that I'm so sleepy.
Oh, yeah? Well, we'll see if we can make it through this one, and then you can go take your nap.
I feel like I've just, showed all my cards, though.
Yeah?
I don't know. Yep. Sleep is elusive these days.
Yep. Tis the life of a parent. We get it now.
We understand.
Yep.
We
It's a
applaud.
good life. It's a hard life. It's a good life. Are you ready for my question?
Let's see.
Okay, my question today is, tell me about a time you misjudge a challenge or opponent.
I misjudge.
You misjudged
Yeah.
a challenge or an opponent. If you need time to think, I do have
Such a
one.
good question. Sure, you go first. You go first.
Okay, so when I was in high school, my friend Jonathan and I, we decided to take my canoe and go to the Peace River.
Oh.
We spent 3 nights, I think, like 4 days, 3 nights, canoeing down the river, camp on the side, and we did this primarily as a fossil hunting adventure. My friend Jonathan is very into fossils. He knows where to look. He knows how to read all the geological maps to see what kind of fossils we're likely to find in what river systems and stuff that's beyond me. But he would invite me along on these adventures. So we went on this one. We're probably 2 days into the adventure, and we're pretty far up the river now. There's not a lot around us. It's pretty wildernessy where we're at. And, we brought some food supplies, but we're also young high school boys in the woods looking for adventure, looking for stories.
Looking for food.
So we come up on this, it's like a little island strip right in the middle of the river, and we see a turkey on it. And we both look at each other, and you get that young man fire in your eyes, like, we're going to eat turkey tonight. Are you ready, brother? Yes, I'm ready. We're going to eat turkey tonight. And we grab I think I had a hatchet, and he had the machete. And so he dropped me at one end of this. I mean, it's a pretty thin, but decently long. It's maybe a 50-yard, 60-yard little island. So he drops me at one, and he canoes around to the other end. So we're at the 2 far tips. I mean, it's like a long ellipse, kind of. So
Little finger in the river.
A little finger in the river. So we start closing the distance on this turkey. Move it through the bushes and whatnot. And we're like about at the point where it's like, all right, do we just run? Do we bolt at this thing? Because we have it now. It's trapped on this island. Even if it starts swimming, like, we can probably swim faster than a turkey. Like, we can catch this thing. And then, completely to our surprise, the turkey flies across the river and lands in a tree on the other side. And the two of us look at each other and realize we both forgot that turkeys fly. And we were both like, we're idiots. Yep, we're idiots. All right, let's get back in the canoe and continue our adventure.
With an empty stomach. So sad.
We brought beans, and we actually, the river was really low at that point. There were parts we had to get out of the canoe because if we were in it, it was too heavy and would scrape the bottom. But we caught a bunch of blue crabs that were apparently, like, spawning in the river. There's some blue crab run. So we ended up eating, like 6 or 7 blue crabs for dinner. That was delicious.
That'll satisfy a teenage dude.
Yes. Oh, yes.
Wow.
That was a good adventure.
Well, a similar story, or you've heard why Florida has monkeys, right?
I have heard that story.
Same idea of people underestimating their animal opponent.
Yes.
They take monkeys. For those of you who haven't heard, when they shot the Tarzan movies,
or the TV show, right?
Uh,
Or it's the old. What year was that? Was that
oh,
60s?
it was old
Yeah, it was old black and white Tarzan movies.
Tarzan stuff, and so they brought in monkeys for
Yep.
the Tarzan movies.
They had a genius plan.
Yeah, they were gonna keep all the monkeys.
There was an island
Yeah,
in the river,
right.
and they're
And
like
so
genius.
We'll just
We
keep
put
them there.
the
It's a
monkeys
natural cage
on the island. You know, monkeys don't live in water, obviously, so
And
they're going to
we'll
stay on
just-
land.
Yeah, so we'll just keep them there until we're done. I guess they were like until they were done shooting, and then they were gonna put them in a zoo. I don't know
Who knows?
I don't know what the ultimate plan
Yeah.
was, but the major oversight was that monkeys can swim,
They can,
and they all left the island
and they swam.
and they swam, and now they're still
There is
in
not just like
forest.
dwindling, but there is a healthy population of monkeys in the Ocala National Forest by Silver Springs.
yeah,
Yeah.
yep, center of the state pretty
Yep.
much. So that's fun.
Yeah. How about you? Is there a time that you underestimate or misjudged a challenge or an opponent?
Yes. So over Thanksgiving break, this past Thanksgiving,
Uh-huh.
we played a game, called I don't remember what was it called.
Someone has died.
Someone has died, and it's a role play game. So essentially, you're all one person is the words are failing me.
It's like the arbiter.
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 Auditor. Yes.
Of an
Have I
estate.
mentioned words are failing me?
Of an
Yeah. So
estate.
someone wealthy, someone with an estate of some kind has
Has
died.
died, yeah.
Someone is assigned to be the arbiter, who will basically dish out the estate to
Yep.
a deserving individual, and all the rest of the players are given identities that they have to act in
Yes.
to convince the arbiter that they are deserving of the estate above everyone else. So, very funny game
It
to
was a
play
very funny
at,
game.
well, I don't know, like 9:30 at night,
Yep.
which for us parents is so late, it's practically midnight. So I was expecting some funny from my sister Dara, from my sister Hope and her husband, and from Corey, who's always hilarious, who I did not expect to be the funniest. I just underestimated her entirely, was my youngest sister Bryn.
Uh-huh.
14 and hammed it up.
Oh man.
She was given the identity of the Grim Reaper.
Yeah.
And she had to create a story of how she knew the deceased and why
Well-
she should receive the library
Uh-huh.
of books.
You get a character card. So her character card was the Grim Reaper. And then you also get a card which is like your relationship to the deceased. So she got handed the card of you're the Grim Reaper, and the relationship she had to the deceased was she read about him in the tabloid.
Like in the
Or
obituaries.
in the obituary.
Yeah. So anyway, she did a masterful job. We were in stitches
Yep.
all night, but she was
Yeah,
the
she
wild
killed it.
card. I was not. Did she end up winning?
She won. Yeah,
I think she
absolutely.
won. Yeah. And I just underestimated.
Yep. She had
The,
she was logical and consistent the entire time. Like there were not many faults in the character that
but
she
she
had
also
made up on the
stayed
spot.
in character. Like she didn't get all silly and embarrassed. Like I would have been a
Yeah.
complete mess at 14. I
think
had no
she
composure.
picked up a fork from the table at one point as
She
like the
did.
first prop entered into the game. As she's the Grim Reaper, obviously, with like a sickle or whatever. So she's got this piece of cutlery. She pulled her hood like all the way down so you could barely see her
She had a
eyes
hoodie on.
and-
Yep. No, she was in character. I
Yep.
was just I was
Underestimated.
not expecting that level of performance
Yep.
from my baby sister.
Yep.
So, well done, Bryn.
Well done.
I think she will live on as the Grim Reaper for a
Yep.
while in
She
family
inspired.
lore.
We did another family activity over Thanksgiving, which was a contest to see who could make the best Christmas ornament. and I made mine inspired from her character. I made a Grim Reaper Christmas ornament.
Which did not win the
It
competition.
did not,
Just
but it got laughs.
it
but it
got
did
laughs,
not
and I
win.
think somebody kept it. I think somebody was.
I think Dara kept it.
I think Hope kept it.
I think Hope kept it.
We'll have to
Somebody kept it.
Someone kept it, but yeah. So that was a good story.
It was a good time.
Yep.
All right. Shall we update now?
All right.
Very good. All right, Anna.
All right.
Exciting things have happened.
Yeah.
I have questions for you.
Oh,
Not stupid questions. Legitimate questions.
very good.
I think even some might say good questions.
Excellent.
Okay. So the first one, you have recently gotten an approval from the state of North Carolina
Praise God.
to do something. What have you been given approval to do?
I have finally gotten my speech language pathology assistant license to practice in the state of North Carolina.
Woohoo!
So I am official, I'm legal, I'm all done dealing with bureaucracy for the foreseeable future on this front.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, now I can start working with kiddos.
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah. So the licensing transferal to different jurisdictions is something that I think we will experience a number of times
Yes.
throughout our journey in the world of missions. As we move to different countries, I'm going to have a buttload of licenses to transfer over from
No
the
doubt.
aviation side of things. And yeah, this is our first taste, our toe in the water, so to speak,
Yes.
of the journey of transferring licenses and stuff. Can you tell me what that process was like for you?
I was kind of hoping you'd say, "What have you learned?" Because I have that better than this will be a long answer probably. So the process was an online application with a certain number of things that had to be submitted with the application. That included my previous license, my bachelor's diploma,
Yep.
my
You had to get your transcripts at some point,
I
right?
did have to send over some transcripts, so education proof, and then also a proof of 100 hours of clinical work, supervised from someone.
Signed by a former employer.
Yes. So all of that was required up front. And then I had to take a licensure test, or I guess more of an accreditation test, certification exam.
Yeah.
That's what it was called, a certification exam, to demonstrate that I knew my stuff.
Yep.
I knew legally what I'm allowed to do and not to do, and how to do it, and also show that I know where to find things, which that one, I did pass the exam,
Yeah.
but knowing where to find things, I'm still not.
100%. Yeah.
I have a general direction now.
Yeah.
Whereas when we started this thing, I was so lost. And then I also had to submit proof that I had to work with my supervisor because I am only an assistant. So I have to have somebody to assist legally. I have to have a supervisor. So I had to work with her to sign some paperwork and just confirm that she is fully certified. She will be supervising me and making sure that I'm doing everything up to snuff. I think that was most of it. Really, the process was just a lot of emails.
Yeah.
And figuring out what the right question was to ask. Because I noticed, and maybe it's because they get a lot of emails a day, they were very prompt in responding.
Yeah.
But if I asked 3 questions, I would get 1 answer
Mm.
So I had to really prioritize which question I want answered and how. And so I would like ask a question and I'd get an answer, and I'd get to a certain point and realize that that was not the right question to ask. I
Yeah.
needed, and then they'd give me more information when I asked that question.
Yeah.
But like, unless I asked it specifically, they were not super helpful in volunteering
Yeah.
unrequested information.
Yeah.
So that was a bit of a learning curve. What are the relevant questions and how to ask them?
Yep.
I was not able to get on the phone, even though there was a phone number listed. So maybe that would have been more helpful. In the future. I think I'd much rather talk to a real person in real time.
Yeah.
The person I was talking to was a real person. I didn't have to deal with like a
Robot.
an AI bot, which
Those are the worst.
I am thankful for that. I've been there and done that with customer service.
Yeah.
Not a fan.
Yeah, they are terrible.
But getting on the phone with someone if you've got the time, that probably would have sped things up a little bit. So anyway, that was the process.
Yeah.
It was a lot of back and forth too, because I started the process and I had to have the exam score in order to apply and complete the process. Well, I didn't have the exam score because I hadn't taken the exam.
Yeah.
And that was another part of the process I forgot about. In order to take the exam, I had to qualify to take the exam, which means I had to take some prerequisite courses. I had to pay some fees. I had to submit more like transcript type stuff to a different organization. And then all of that took a couple months, which means they froze my application and they deemed it inactive, which means by the time I actually finally took the exam, passed the exam, had the scores, I had to resubmit a number of things.
Yeah.
And I'm learning that's kind of standard.
Yeah.
So some takeaways from that for next time. Have all the imaginable documentation and, just documents.
Yep.
Everything that I could possibly submit. Have it, like, on file somewhere.
Yeah.
Have it scans or something. So there were a few things that, like, had to come from, like, my university. I don't have my transcripts.
Yeah.
The university has to do that. But having everything so that I didn't have to search would have been nice. But we're here. We arrived.
We did.
We're done for now.
What were some of the emotions that you experienced during the process? Because this was not a fast process. I think you started in March, February?
Started what?
This process of getting your license transferred.
September. Okay. And then I got my license officially last week.
Yeah.
2 weeks ago.
So we're about 6 months of faffing with paperwork and emails back and forth and studying for tests and taking tests.
And I will caveat that timeline. It probably could have been faster.
Oh, we're dealing with transition to a move and you've got Malachi.
Yeah. I was not able to dedicate all of my time to this. It was like chipping away slowly.
Yeah.
Which means it was slow. But emotions... When I started out, it felt very overwhelming because I had no idea what the process looked like, how to get the thing, things that when it's broken down into steps feels manageable at the outset felt way too big. And so it was very overwhelming at first to the point that I just didn't want to do it. I was like, would it be that big a deal if I didn't do speech therapy again?
Yeah.
And then it was a very up and down sort of thing. Like, one, I would find information and be able to submit things.
Yeah. That
was like almost a dopamine hit of I've accomplished something. I've submitted something. I've made another step.
Yeah.
That made me feel good. I was proud of myself for getting that next thing submitted. And then frustration, especially when they're like, hey, we've frozen your application, it's inactive. I'm like, I remember like just a sinking feeling like, oh, I gotta, what does that even mean? Other emotions, definitely some some nerves with, taking the exam, and
Yeah.
mostly, honestly, the nerves were I just paid so much money for this exam. I really don't want to have to take it again.
Yeah.
And then the testing process, I was like, I never want to do that again. If you've got the option to go in person to a testing center versus doing an online proctored, go in person.
Yeah.
It is so much, I imagine it is so much smoother, because the online proctored thing was just very invasive. The lengths that people apparently will go to cheat, and the lengths that the proctoring company will go to prevent that,
Yeah.
not perfect. I saw so many holes,
Oh, yes.
but I still had to go through all the stuff. So, yeah, there were some nerves and fatigue. I think that was another one. I was like, I'm just so tired of dealing with this.
Yeah.
And it was only 6 months of it, but I think there was, in the dips in my up and down, I felt very tired sometimes. Yeah.
Yeah. Tired, overwhelming.
And then I would get to a point where I just felt nothing about it. I was like, it'll
Happen one day, maybe.
happen if it happens. And if it doesn't, I'm not too tore up about it right now.
Yeah.
Torn up about
Torn
it.
up.
I ain't tore up about it. I'm good.
Good old Southern slang.
So, yeah, there were a lot of emotions. I haven't really thought about it. I think because it was such a slow process, maybe I had time to process said emotions, so I don't feel like it was a traumatic thing or anything. And there were also lots of other emotions happening, especially at the beginning of it, at the same time. We moved, and so everything's new and everything's overwhelming. So naturally, this is going to feel overwhelming because it's one more thing.
Yeah.
On the days where I'm feeling fatigued because everything is new, or Malachi's not sleeping, or I don't know, we just came back from a trip and we haven't been in a regular rhythm for 3 weeks. Some of those emotions were probably heightened because of extraneous circumstances. That's not the word. Extenuating circumstances. Have I mentioned that words are failing today?
Maybe once or twice.
Did I mention that I didn't sleep much last night?
You did.
Okay.
Yep. That was the first thing you mentioned.
That was the first thing I mentioned. Do I repeat myself?
It's the first time I've heard any of that.
Okay. Bad joke. Okay. Do you have any more questions about
I do.
said thing?
So we are working with a missions organization that specifically works to, as they put it in their lingo, cover the last mile of missions. So get missionaries and the equipment and supplies that they need to sustain either individuals or teams or whole projects. They use airplanes, they use boats, they use overland vehicles, 4x4, motorbikes, like you name the vehicle, they use the vehicles to get to the place to sustain the thing. Yeah.
Also.
IT. Your education and your expertise is in speech therapy.
Yes.
I would love to know what is the need that the missions community and this organization are seeing where they would want to utilize a speech therapist to accomplish this last mile of missions using vehicles and IT and stuff like that.
All the technical things.
Yeah, can you explain that relationship?
I think I can do that. Yeah, I love that question. So I want you to imagine that you are a parent. You're a translator.
I can imagine that. Well, one of those two.
You're also a parent. You're taking your 3 kids.
Yep.
And you're taking your whole family to a place to really invest and work on this translation.
Yep.
You are one of a team of people, but it's a small team of people.
Yeah.
And this project is, you're starting from the beginning. It is a huge project to translate the scripture into a language. And you're there for a year, you're getting good traction, and then one of your children starts you start noticing they're having a really hard time communicating.
Yeah.
And they're about to need to start school, but they're having a hard time. You have an older child who's all of a sudden just really having trouble in school, and you find out that they have a speech delay, or they have they're really self-conscious about a certain speech sound that they're having trouble with, or they have a stutter, things of that nature. Or I'm kind of going into all the things that speech therapy could possibly cover, or you've got a child with an autism diagnosis.
Yeah.
You're in a country that is small enough it does not have the infrastructure to support or have any kind of therapy, any kind of support. Well, now what do you prioritize? Do you prioritize this work that you are a key part in? If you leave, the project stalls.
Yeah.
Or do you prioritize, and you prioritize it at the expense of your child? Or do you prioritize your family?
Yeah.
And you leave. You go back to where you can get support for your kids and leave the team short-handed. That's a situation that has happened a number of times. And one thing that I've heard Wycliffe say a number of times, and I'm sure Jars can agree, is we don't sacrifice our children on the altar of missions. We really want to support our missionary kids in all ways, because when we support the kids, we support the entire family. It is a unit. And so imagine now you're in a place, you find out your kid has a speech delay, they need assistance, and there's someone back in the States who can actually work over Zoom. That's included, like it's a service you don't have to worry about paying for. But your kid can get the help that they need, while at the same time you can stay where you're at. That's basically what I'm going to be doing, is keeping. I'm going to be part of keeping the missionaries on the field. Which, it's not a physical thing, but it is a very tangible thing. To help with the health of the families going overseas to serve. And I'll be able to do that, hopefully, even once I'm overseas. So, like right now, I'm working with in person and also over Zoom. And so that can happen, I'm assuming, anywhere. At least that's the foreseeable
in person
plan.
With people who are working
local.
to go overseas.
Maybe. Yeah. So I'll be giving kids and parents, and a lot of times too, parents need the support, like just a direction. What I've heard is that linguists are really great to work with us, because they already know all the speech sounds. So I just but it's also not just linguists. Like imagine the pilot. One of the few pilots that's in a place. Their family needs to come back to the States and now how are you going to get the missionaries where they need to get, it's all interconnected. And so speech therapy gets to be my link in the chain. So I'm very excited. Thank you, Lord.
It is very exciting. You're very good at it, and I'm excited to watch you really step into that role and knock it out of the park.
Aw, thanks. It has been really fun. I started last week actually working with a kid, and my goodness, so great.
Good to be back in it.
It's good to be back in it.
You've been out for about a year, right?
Yeah, it's been a year. I stopped working a few weeks. No, I stopped working March of last year. Wow. So it's been a year. So I love being back in it. Also, the kid I'm working with right now, the student is fantastic, and I very much enjoy that too. So the Lord is very kind in
Yep.
letting me start with somebody who's
Yep.
pretty, like, very easy to work with.
Yeah.
He's a very easy student to work with. So, yeah, and the challenging ones are great too.
Yep.
But I got to start
Start
at a
off
beginner
easy.
level
Yeah. Yep.
again after a year
A
out.
really motivating one right off the bat.
Yeah, exactly.
Good.
Yep.
All right. Yep. So that's our big update this time around. Anna got her license, and she's starting to work, starting to see kids, and we just wanted to give you guys a little picture into, what exactly that role is going to be doing for the teams.
Yep.
Yep.
And I do hear the baby crying.
Yep.
so
That's
we'll
our
sign
cue
off.
to stop recording and go play with a child. Yep. All right. We'll talk to you guys later.
Bye.
Bye.